What's that? Everyone, would you go pledge allegiance?
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just a moment of silence for those serving in the military. Great, thanks everybody. Mayor Baldini not available tonight, so I'm in the power chair again. It's very exciting for everybody. First thing we'll do is Suffolk County Police. How are you?
How you guys doing?
Great, thanks for coming.
For those of you who haven't met me, I'm Officer Fisher with Suffolk PD. I was here a couple times ago. But you guys have anything for me or?
I just have on Woodland, we've had some activity with some alleged drug activity, and I know the police were called again last week, and I think that's either the second or third time.
Okay. Woodland and what is there a cross street or?
Woodland and Union.
And Union?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's been happening in the late evening hours, cars parked, stuff going on. Our code officers were called, the police were called, you guys responded, but I think by the time they're getting there.
Right. Is it cars parked illegally or is it
So what it is
Go ahead.
there's just south of Union, there's one house on the west side,
yes.
then a service road. And what they're doing is they're parking in the service road and cutting across the grass, going through the little trees to Union,
Okay.
where I guess their buyer
Okay.
will pull up on Union, they'll duck out of the trees.
Yeah. Do you guys have an exact address of that house? Or?
I can get that. But it's
I'll write that down. I'll check it out, and then I'll advise the other 14 operators.
and I guess it seems to be later in the evening.
Yeah.
Like unfortunately, the owner of the house's daughter came home late one evening and stumbled upon it at one point too.
Okay.
So,
All right. Yeah, I'll go down there tonight and see if I can hang out down there. See what's going on.
Thank you.
Stops.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep.
thank you.
Do you guys have any questions? Any questions, concerns, anything?
Anybody on the board?
All right.
Thanks, officer.
Thank you.
Yeah, I tried pulling our left right. It's just not working. Okay, guys, you need to go off.
There's our scout here. Do you want to give your presentation?
Sure.
Yeah. How are you?
Great, how are you? Hello everyone, I'm John Brown here. I'm from Troop 153. We're based over in the Ambulance Corps. And I'm here to present to you my Eagle Scout project, which is a planter at Mississippi Park right outside the county. I do have some papers that I could give to you. So the basic plan right now is a 8-foot by 4-foot planter, so 8 feet wide, 4 feet deep planter right outside the porch of the cabin. You can see some pictures on the paper there, the dimensions and also sort of what it would look like on the cabin. And I just think that it would be a good way to help spruce up the area. I know that a bunch of new playground equipment just got put in there, so I figured that would be a good way to sort of welcome that in. There's also a little timeline at the bottom. So March 4th, I meet with the village board to hopefully get the project approved by you guys, and then March through early May, I would get approval from the Boy Scout, the higher ups at the Boy Scouts, the council, and begin my fundraising. Then in late May, that would be finishing the preparations for building, buying all the materials and that sort of thing. And then finally, from June to early July would be when I actually build a planter with help from my troop. Do you have any questions about that? That was just the general idea.
That looks great.
No, I think they'll look adorable there.
Do we want him to coordinate with the Beautification Society about what plans to put in?
So, okay, when the planter is finished, we'll get you in touch with the beautification so that you can link up and talk about plantings and all of that too. I see you nodding in the back. We have one member of the beautification. Two members. Yeah, oh,
Yes.
and you're here too, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, perfect.
And we can get highway department to fill it with top
Yeah.
So
soil.
what's the plan, yes? Any other questions?
Great. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'll email you because I know you need letters and approval and documentation.
Yes.
It's just what I do. You know my emails.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, it's the report of the deputy mayor and trustees. Mary, can I have a motion to approve the previous board minutes of February 5th, 2024? Can I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
I abstain, I wasn't here. Okay. All right, who's going?
Report of the deputy mayor and trustees. Mary?
Okay, the big event for the month of March is going to be our Easter egg hunt. That's going to be on, I just want to make sure I get the date right. Saturday, March 30th. We do this with the Lions Club. Time TBD. Look out for the posters on the main drags where we put them. It's always a fun event for the kids. We try to separate the littles from the bigs and prevent too many greedy bunnies, but we got some plans in the works. That's all I have for this month.
Thank you, Mary. I'll go next. Building department, I got some information from Mr. O'Shea. Last month, we had 4 building permits issued, 7 plumbing permits issued. 2, possibly 3 cases will be going forward to the Board of Appeals for variance applications. And right now, the town of Islip will be working with our office to review the intermunicipal agreement that we've shared with them before, just sharing the services, and it's been very successful. As far as the code department, they've been really good. We seem to be short-staffed still, but they've been great about covering their shifts for each other when personal things come up. They've been all over the Woodland Avenue or Woodland Drive issue, contacting the police on that. And they've been working really hard to clean up the 4 corners because I don't know what happened, but parking in front of the dance studio has been a disaster, like worse than I've seen. So Friday night, it was horrible. Code Officer Jimenez went over there and took care of it immediately. So that's all I have. Michael?
Thank you. Highway Department. This past month, unfortunately, unlike last year, we had to plow and salt the roads. That in turn gives us pothole problems, so we've been out trying to fix as many as we can. But if we miss one, please call Village Hall and let us know. And also, we've been, with these storms that keep coming through, seems like we get a 100-year storm every week now. And we've been going around cleaning drains. I know not only do they need to be cleaned on top, but some of them have been filling with debris and just clogging underground. So if you see one that's overflowing, just let us know and we'll do what we can to get to it. And we've also been spending time, Carmine loves this one, on, what are they called? The trees.
Sweet gum.
The sweet gum trees that you see with the little spiny things all over the place. We're trying to, it's a never-ending battle when we have 6 highway department personnel and about over 100 trees, and they're just everywhere. But if you see them clogging up a drain or something, please let us know, and we'll try and get out there and clean them up. But we also ask for our neighbors to give us a little assistance if you can, help us out. We'd appreciate it. That's all I have.
That's great. Thank you, Michael. Trustee Fawcett?
Thanks. It just occurred to me, I wonder if there's a horticultural way we can deal with them, with crab apple, you prune them before and then they don't.
We started looking into that, and it was Carmine.
There was a, you can chemically treat the tree to suppress the production of the sweet gum.
You gotta do that every year.
Huh?
You gotta do that every year.
I don't remember,
All right.
but there was no guarantee.
You should look into that.
They were in contact with arborists and all that.
Yeah,
Just going back a
we
few
used to
years.
have it come in every year, but, so projects I've been working on, we're trying to figure out how to manage the water down the Concourse East and West. There's a couple of drains that are a little low that we've been working with the engineer. It's an ongoing thing to see if we can raise them up. We're also looking at the stop valves. We're supposed to be putting 1 or 2 in. I definitely have applications for those 2. What we're seeing now is that we're getting these incredibly dramatic changes in tide. One day the tide will be so high that we'll actually be coming over the bulkhead. This is not a rain event, not a storm event, just a regular tide where we have wind blowing a certain direction. And then we have other days where we have super low tides. We actually have, it's like 5 feet below the top of the bulkhead. So nothing we can fix. It's just going to be how can we manage that? How can we make it so that when the event happens, we get back to normal quicker than we are right now. So we're working on that. I'm also looking on erosion projects. I met with Senator Mike up in Albany, and she said there's a fund for Clean Water Act. I got to see if that applies to our lakes as well as our beaches. I've been doing some research. There's these landscape mats. I think it's something we're going to try, where basically it slows down the runoff from the street. I think we're going to experiment on Lakeview Avenue West in a couple of spots. Also using fill to put into the lake to extend the footage in front of the roadway. We have a couple of spots that we're like 3 feet from the water's edge, and as you know, if that continues to erode, then we'll lose the road. So we need to look into that. And then the last thing that we've been working on is looking at better ways that we can make our parks more user-friendly, I guess I should say. The last couple of years, we've seen tremendous use of all our parks. So we just continue to look at ways that we can improve that for everybody. One of the things that has come to my attention is that, we have a lot of seniors that use our parks, but there's not a lot of shade for them. And how can we create more shade area for our seniors so they can enjoy the parks in the summertime? So something else that we're looking on a code side, I've been looking at the code. I have a special needs son. I have a couple of friends who have special needs sons, and their question is, if we have a special needs or an elder person, can we get a caregiver to live in an apartment in a garage? Right now we can't. So that's something we want to take a look at and have a conversation, see if there's a way that we can allow that, if it would be a caregiver for somebody so they could live independently. And then the last thing I've been working on is I've been annoying Nicole. As you all know, it's budget season, and we are, we're okay. We're in a good spot, but obviously there's a lot to be done in the village. There always is. And how do we go about doing that? I'm completely opposed to breaking the tax cap. I made that known. Actually, I wasn't here for the vote, but I made my voice known to the board. And I look at where we are with our bonds, and I think we just need to kind of tighten our belts for a couple of years, and then we'll be back in a position of strength where we won't have to either go out the bar again if we wanted to, or we'd be able to self-sustain. One of the issues that we had is, some of you may know, is that we get money from the government, from our government up in Albany. It's called CHIPS money for road repairs. We've been able to use our bond payment to submit to them to get reimbursed. They're no longer allowing us to do that. So for the next couple of years, we will not be able to get CHIPS money by submitting our bond payments. So the only CHIPS money we're going to get is when we spend money to fix our roads. So we have a couple of roads that we looked at that we're going to do. They're basically service roads. They're kind of like putting a new roof on your house. Looks great, but who cares? But they have to be done because they're in disrepair. We're going to end up losing the roads, and then it's going to cost twice as much. We've done this before. This is where we were. I don't know how many years ago. Carmen, how many years ago was it when we went out for bond for the original roads? Do you know?
8 years.
8 years ago. So if we can get through 2 more years, I think we'll be in a very good financial place. But we are looking at the budget. Nicole will tell you, I always say, can you give me an Excel on this and Excel on that? And she's done that. She's, I just recently audited our DPW bill. And, I was happily surprised because I thought that was going to be way over. And it's surprisingly not, which is good. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Fawcett. Moving on, I'd like to make a motion to call for a public hearing on April 8th for the tentative 2024-2025 budget. I have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those against?
We changed the date from the 1st to the 8th in the package, just so you know.
Right, April 1st is Easter Monday, so there's going to be some scheduling conflicts, so do it April 8th. All right, I'd like to make a motion, call for a motion appointing Michael Ruggieri and Rhonda Rauch as the election inspectors for the June 18th village election, 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. at a flat rate of $225 per election inspector. Can I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? I'd like to make a motion for permission for the village to enter into a records deposit agreement with the Bright Waters Historical Society. Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? All right, we're going to table the next item. Okay, there's just some information we still need from the Bayshore Bright Waters Rescue Ambulance, right?
Yeah,
So,
so-
agreement on that?
Yeah, so the Bayshore Bright Waters ambulance a couple years ago came to us and said they were going to start billing this billing system where they would bill the person's insurance. And we informed the residents that you take an ambulance ride, you may get a bill, but you don't have to pay. They were supposed to collect enough funds to cover the contract. What's happened is that they've never approached us about a bill, so we don't know whatever. So Nicole reached out to them and they said, well, you owe us $50,000 and change. And we're like, all right, well, could you give us some, details on why we owe you that much? It'd be nice to know why we're paying you $50,000. And crickets. So if anybody knows anybody in the ambulance, we're gonna have whole payment until we get some information. 2020.
2022, we didn't get any bill before, but 2023, we had the bill.
You have all the billing?
Yeah, I have everything.
Okay, so we
Yeah.
just have to, it just came up on the radar. So anyway, regardless, they told us that we would probably not have to pay, and at minimum 25,000, at maximum would be 25,000, so this is double that amount. So we just need to do our due diligence, find out why it is, and basically speak to them to find out two things. One is if they're billing and they only collected 49,000 and change, why is that? Is it they're not really servicing the village as much as they thought they were going to be, or they haven't? And the second, and if that's the case, then we need to renegotiate how much we're paying, right? So if they're not servicing that much, then why are we paying them more than what they're servicing? And then the second part is if they only bill for part of the thing, because they know they have issues with their billing, is that our responsibility contractually or not? I don't know. So
Yeah.
So we'll discuss that at the work meeting, put that on the agenda for there. And then we're going to table the next matter as well, okay? And then let's call for a motion for approval of the treasurer's report and abstract. They're in the back of your packet. Maybe a year ago, someone came up with a great idea, just not to have these read during the meeting. So if you have any questions, you can contact the office. So can I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? All right. Does the board have anything, any members, or open up for a public comment? Sure. Anybody? All right. I'd like to call for a motion to open up the meeting for public comment. Can I have a second?
Second.
Those in favor? Those against? All right. Any questions, anybody? Any issues? Comment?
Good question.
Yeah, go ahead, if you just state your name for the record and your address.
My name is Billy Knapp. I live at 482 Peters Boulevard. I've just been coming to probably the last 4 meetings or so. We had gotten a petition together about the traffic situation on Peters Boulevard. Just wondering how you're making out with that, or what your general consensus are about that. I missed the last meeting. I know you had a special meeting for everyone that was south of, or north of Union, south of Sunrise. I really don't know what happened at that meeting. I don't go online, I don't do emails or any of that stuff, so unless I'm here talking to you and you're talking to me, I really don't know what's going on. I don't want you to repeat yourself.
Well, I think that we're still discussing it as a board, but
we had a meeting, special meeting for all residents to attend about the traffic situations and the speeding and the people flying through the village. It was very well attended. We've got, basically, we're talking about doing speed humps. People up in, what's the last block? Lombardi said, hey, please put a couple here. And one of the residents said, well, you can close the road. We really haven't made any real progress on this because, we start looking at this, we go, all right, well, suggestion was, made to close these roads, the access to the roads here. at Sunrise Highway, that just kicks the problem
Yeah.
down east. So, and then if we start doing that, people are gonna start going up Windsor, and Windsor's already a nightmare with people. So I think where we put solid foundation is that we know that we have to put something on Windsor to start.
Right.
Because when the apartment, and right where you see it, the apartments and stuff, people are cutting through Brightwaters, and that's a direct shot over the train tracks.
Right.
So I think that's where we're gonna start. We're gonna put one by the park, and I think we're gonna put another one further down just south of Union.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
speed bumps?
Speed
Yes.
humps.
Okay, on Windsor?
On Windsor. I think that's where we're kind of landing as a group to start. And, we could put up, we're all in favor of putting a stop sign on every corner if that's what everybody wants. I have no problem with
Yeah,
that.
I don't know.
But I don't know
Yeah.
I don't know if they're really helping. I know on my block, and I walk around the village, actually, I was right over our house the other day with my dogs. I'm walking on Peters. I walked up around, I'm walking on Peters heading back towards Orinoco, and I see somebody that I know, and they waved to me as they went right through the
Oh,
stop
yeah.
sign, didn't even
I
tap
walk
the
every
brakes.
night, and I would say that 95% of the people
Yeah.
don't even really pay
So,
attention to the stop sign.
I-
Even if there's a four-way stop.
Yes.
I think the four-way stops makes it even worse, because they're just thinking, okay, I'm pulling up, those people coming the other way are gonna stop, so I'm
Yeah.
just gonna blow through here.
Like the police officer one time said, I could sit here at any given stop sign and pull people over all
Right,
day.
right.
And you know who I'm gonna pull over? Your neighbors.
Right, so,
I agree,
Right,
I
so
agree.
one-
I'm not, well, all the neighbors should get tickets, that's all there is to it.
so one of the,
When I was growing up, I've lived in Bayshore my whole life. I've worked in the village of Brightwaters for almost 50 years. When I grew up and we started driving, you never drove through Brightwaters because you were guaranteed to get a
yeah,
ticket.
this is Mr.
I don't know
Mr.
whether the police officers sat at the
John.
park at Mississippi Park and just pulled everybody over. Is there any way we can petition
So-
Suffolk County Police Department to?
Yeah, so John, Mr. Martin passed away, lived in Bayshore, actually lived on my block, I grew up in Fulton Drive. The village used to buy a car, and that car was stationed in Brightwaters, but it would leave if there was an emergency. We talked about having that conversation. We also talked about bringing back the ability for our court to if we're going to write tickets, we'll have our code people write tickets, but we got to process them ourselves. Right now, it goes to Suffolk County,
Right.
and that's all their thing. So we've had this conversation. So the best thing for you guys all to do is just keep hounding us. To be honest with you,
And not just us, but the
yeah.
police department.
Police department as well.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not, I don't want to publicly shame anybody, but to be honest with you, I know a lot of my neighbors that they just don't believe in stop signs.
Yeah.
Can I
Going
just-
through.
It's
And,
okay.
Okay.
Or we'll go on to the next person. Go
Can
ahead.
I just
Thanks.
piggyback on something? Bridget Cruikshank, 476 Peters Boulevard. There's a bunch of us from Peters Boulevard here tonight. And we were talking about stop signs, but our block is almost all four-way stop signs. We have a three-way and a one-way. This is the only one that's not a four-way stop sign right here, so it doesn't really do anything. I think that's great that you're putting them on Windsor. I think we got every house on Peters Boulevard to agree that this is a problem and to sign something and write their address and answer their doors to this crazy guy who's knocking on doors. Almost every house on this block sees this as a serious, serious problem. In our one block, we have 16 kids under 10. And the stop signs aren't going to do it on our block. I think it's either speed bumps. I suggested a one-way because I thought it was cheaper and easier. Maybe it's not. Maybe I don't know. To me, putting up signs for one-way just sounds like a paperwork deal. Speed bumps obviously cost money, but whatever's going to slow them down, I think everyone here just agreed that stop signs don't slow them down. So, and we see it on our block that they don't slow it down. I think we have to recognize the critical blocks. I think Lombardi's obviously a critical block. I see it on Lombardi, people just speeding down that block as well. That's why you're getting people from these two blocks showing up at these meetings. And I think, out of respect, you should recognize that this is a serious issue, that we can't keep just passing off. We actually have to take action on this. Or something's going to happen, and I'm not one to say I told you so, but it would be pretty upsetting. What we see on the daily on our block, just standing out there with those kids, I'm like this. And my kids are old enough, they don't really jump out to the streets anymore. There's so many little ones, I just think we need to do something.
No, I agree with you. I think we all know village-wide that speeding, blowing through stop signs is a problem.
And I can't keep coming to meetings. I just
Right.
shot over from soccer practice.
I'm on Mississippi, and
Yeah.
people use that as a thoroughfare, especially
God.
at night. People are going 60, 65 miles an hour down that block. It's disgusting. But we can't just jump and just put speed bumps here, stop signs. We have to have a plan.
Right.
Because we are spending village money. So yes, to a lot of people, myself, it seems like things take a long time, but we are working on this, and we want to do it the right way. We want to do it once the right way.
I don't see anything wrong with polling, like sending out a survey, an electronic survey, what do people want? Because then you have like the back of the constituents of the neighborhood
Right. I
saying
think
this
we
is
need
what we
the
want.
advice from consultants as well.
Right.
Because none of us here are traffic experts. I don't think anyone else.
Well, that's what we wrote in the letter too.
Right, I know. But I appreciate it. Come on, Chief Bennett.
Orange Bed 489 acres, you have a resource in Iceland. Okay, you can coordinate with the head of traffic in Iceland, and you can consult with him about what makes sense, or at least give you your options, and then have get a sense of what may work. So you don't have to spend the money, you just got to reach out. And I did speak to that gentleman when we were discussing changing the parking on North Windsor. As you approach, as you're heading south on the North Windsor Ridge, as you're heading south, we're going to eliminate parking on one side to open it up. And he said that's the worst thing you can do. And the mayor's referred to that several times. It slows people down if there's cars on both sides, and that's what you're trying to do, is regulate the speed. He was very helpful. I had no idea that made any sense until he told me about it, because I'm not a traffic engineer. You have an available resource that you can tap into that won't cost us money. But Ms. Cruikshank is correct. It's been a while since we've been discussing this. Not beating anybody over the head, but you need to be proactive now and get something done, because if something does happen, then you're being reactive and not proactive.
I also suggest people to call Suffolk County PD. Have them here. Have them sitting at the stops, sitting at the corners. I saw one the other day tucked in that little spot by public storage. I mean, they're going to be here more often if people reach out.
Brent Cubis Lombardi, it doesn't work. I've called so many times and they don't patrol it. Not only that, but 3 weeks ago, I think it was, we had a car literally going 90 down the road.
I'm right there.
So I don't know if you heard about this incident or not, but we were threatened with a gun. We got up to the kids, we were going down to get their license plate, we were threatened to be shot. So that happened. And when the detectives followed back up with this, essentially we were told that all they could do was menacing charge if we wanted to press charges. Now, they know where we live, they know my truck, what are you supposed to do? So the Suffolk County thing, it's not working. It's not working for any of us right now. We're at the point where we're fed up. We even said at the last working meeting that, you know what, we don't even want the village to pay for it. You know what, we'll take care of it. We'll pay for the speed bumps put in. You can go on Home Depot right now and get speed bumps for $300. We could put 3 of them in across the stop signs, more in between. And that's the rubber ones that can be removed in the wintertime if you want to go that route. Otherwise, you can pave again. It's the same thing. I have it priced out. $300-400 a speed bump. We can get them installed. So if you don't want to pay for it, we would gladly take that on. We'll put them on the Marty. If we don't want to close off the room or the road, we'll take care of it. But you know, we have to get a little bit of support from you guys. I'll call the head of traffic at Iceland if that's a resource that that a homeowner can do. Then I have no problem reaching out to them as well. But you know, it's a problem. It is a real problem.
Okay.
Just to add to what he was saying is, you know, we have probably about 40 kids under 15 on our block, and the worst part of it is that they all get along really well. So they're always out, they're always biking around, they're always playing in the street. But then you have these lunatics that are cutting through because it's just a shortcut to get around the Fifth Avenue lights and stuff, and they don't care, they don't live there. You know, and it's a T at a lot of these streets, so there's no 4-way stop, so it's a complete stoptional. They'll just go through and do whatever they want. And you know, looking at this from a monetary standpoint and saying, you know, we're hounding you and we should just keep hounding you. Well, like, there's going to be blood on someone's hands pretty soon. And it's gonna cost a lot more for the village after all that happens versus just shelling out some dough for speed bumps.
Well, it's like you say,
It's gonna be all.
it's everybody in Brightwaters has a story about this. I work from home and see it in Portland every day.
Every day, yeah.
I stare right at my stop sign, and 90% of my neighbors don't even stop, and I hound them.
Right, that's the one problem with our block is, it's not our neighbors. It is some of it, I do see some of it, but it's not our neighbors. It's
Yep.
people that don't live.
So here's what, I just want you guys to hear. So they're saying Peters is the most important block. You're saying your
No,
block.
no, I didn't say anything
No,
about the most
you kind of
important
are. You kind of are. So, but here's what it's.
We
Pat,
have
just
one thing in
give me a
common.
second.
We
I'm
can
not
decide.
saying.
No, but I just want.
Hold on, I'm not saying
I wanna-
anything is the most important.
I'm not pointing at
What I'm saying is
Right.
important is our kids
Absolutely.
who are out on the street. And we got cars doing 90 miles an hour down our block. And when we find them, when we catch up to them, it turns out they don't live anywhere near here. They live up north, and they're using it to cut because we live between two apartment buildings. We have an apartment building at the end of Orinoco, and we have an apartment building right at the top of our block.
Not
So
disagree.
they cut right through. And Pat, I'm sorry, but don't tell me that I'm calling it the most important.
No. What you're saying, it is the most important to you. That's a fact. That's a fact. That's the most
I'm
important.
not saying
I
that
care what
Peters is not
happens
more
there,
important.
and I know he cares what
I
happens
understand what
there.
you're saying. You're missing my point. My point is, I could say the same thing about my block. I got a bunch of little kids in front of mine. I have people speed down my block. I understand, and this is like a,
We're giving you a direct case where we were threatened with a gun by two guys doing 90 miles an hour going down our block who live nowhere near us.
And I wish I was there, to be honest. I wish I was
Is it
there.
about safety or about money though? That's the thing that like.
No, it's about safety, but it's also about doing it the right way.
And when it comes to traffic, we don't have anything to do with that. That is, unfortunately, Suffolk County. Our code enforcement can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
resources, and he
we're
just
all
told
in
you
the
the
hands of
solution to
Suffolk
put
County
a
Police
fine like
Department.
30 seconds in, and he had the solution of who you could get information from, and seemingly we've just had meetings where we all talk about it, and no one's done anything to find a solution.
Go ahead.
I have an idea.
You've had a good one so far. So
This works, but we have to go as a group. Because when I started the neighborhood watch, it worked. We got attention and traction. Tomorrow night, I believe it's the first Tuesday of every month, the 3rd precinct has a community meeting. If we show up in force like my group did, we got a lot of traction, we got a lot of attention, and we got a lot of support when they started the program. If we show up as a group and tell them what's going on, dollars to donuts, the commander, quote unquote, doesn't want that on his record. You will get traction. Calling up is not going to do it, but if we go there and speak individually and personally and explain what's going on, we're going to have a lot of success, in my opinion. So if you want to go tomorrow night, I'll be there.
all right, thank you.
In the back?
Yeah, so I'm on the corner of Mohawk and Lombardi. I think it's, to know that there's resources that we're not using is a little bit scary because 5 hours I was out yesterday and these cars, to Bill's point, they don't live in the neighborhood. They're not there. I know the cars that go through it and the cop cars go through it. So it's funny, I watch the Suffolk County roll through the stop signs and I stand there and watch them. And my kids hang out with all of them and nobody wants it, but you want to make the news for the right reason, not the wrong reason. Set the example, be an example, but don't make the news because you didn't do it.
I'm sorry, what was your name?
Josh McGregor, sorry.
That's okay.
But it's rough. Put a chair in my yard and I'll get you a beer or lemonade. It's frightening.
So I would add one more thing. When you go on the ways from Howes Road or from north of Sunrise, and you type something in down in Bayshore, if it's busy, it takes you down Lombardi.
Right.
So what we do in the mornings now is we have to get on ways and we have to put in road closure on Lombardi. Now, is that something that we should have to do when we wake up so that we at least have some sense of security that our kids are going to be safer? Now we're using a resource that we can do, but again, is that really what we come down to? At that meeting we said, do we want to be a village of speed bumps? Well, you know what? I'd rather be a safe village of speed bumps than not be able to use our streets the way that I think that we should be able to utilize our streets.
Well,
And that's just the reality of it.
After we had that meeting, I did have a couple of conversations, and I like the one idea that, I don't know who posed it, about shutting off the access to that corner. And I think that's a better solution long-term, where they can't just go straight down Lombardi and then take the left. They actually have to make a right and then a left. So the only issue I have with that is, all right, now are they gonna just jump down one block?
Right, we have to see what affects.
So that's what we say, so like, all right, we do speed bumps on Lombardi, but we do them on Peters. So what happens to the other blocks? Well, now people are gonna go down those. I see what you're saying, but you also understand where we sit. We like, all right, we wanna make sure that we're not just pushing a problem to somebody else as well. And I'm not trying to minimize what you guys are saying, because my son almost got clipped a couple times on his three-wheel. And trust me, as a parent, the greatest fear is that your kid goes outside to play, which you hope he's going out and have fun with his friends, but you're worried about him getting hit by a car because somebody doesn't really follow the rules and is reckless. It happens all over our villages. It does happen all over our villages. So yes, I honestly believe you guys keep pressing the issue. And we're going to do something, and also got to remember the timing of when we do something. We can't do anything right now, really. I mean, probably could put the speed bumps. And that's what I wanted to do in winter first, to test it. Put the rumble strips down to see that. And there was some disagreement between myself and the mayor whether or not that's the right thing to do. But that's where I said that's the easiest, fast. And let's see how does that impact the other blocks, right? Because if it doesn't work, we could take it in. Or instead of spending $20,000 to put a speed table or $40,000 to put a speed table in, that would be the faster way. So yeah, I think we revisit that and maybe do some tests and see how it works.
Carmack, right here first.
Question for council.
Yeah.
So we have the speed cameras, as we all know, the red light cameras, speed cameras, call them what you will. Can the village explore, has the village explored, or is it even possible to get them in the village on main roads where we have issues?
We can explore it. We haven't done it. I don't think we can explore that. Look at it. I don't
So
know.
that would be
I
an
don't know
option?
the definitive answer. I think it's possible, but I'll reserve. I'll explore it.
And the second question is this. The fact that we're having this open dialogue about the issues on traffic issues and the safety issues on these roadways, is that putting the village on notice?
No.
I looked at the 3rd Precinct community meeting. It's at 11 a.m. tomorrow.
Oh, really? It's usually in the evenings?
Yeah, no, every other meeting for the year is at 7 p.m. Tomorrow it's 11 a.m. at Islip Library.
Guys, I gotta work.
That's next one.
That's good. I'm sorry, I forgot. We can get more people.
Just quick, so you were saying like the rumble strips, that would be, your way of avoiding, having to lay out for humps before we know if it would work or anything? If we're saying that there's the ability to put a speed bump there for $300.
Right, no, I don't disagree with you.
So if we can do that,
I'm totally okay with that. I like to try it on Windsor and see what that does. You guys want to do that? I mean, that's a conversation we could definitely have. For me, that's the best case scenario. We put them in and see what happens, right? My biggest fear and why we're looking at speed tables is that somebody goes over that thing 90 miles an hour and loses control of their car. With a speed table, they gotta slow down because it's a pretty big.
It's like the ones down on,
on Maple.
On Maple.
Yeah. So like you said, yeah, I'm not against trying it, but I mean that's a conversation.
We just agree that no matter what we do, it's going to have an effect on another block.
There's a ripple effect to everything.
Right, so this has to be dealt with. I don't just.
Yeah, but if we're saying we're going to start with Windsor, if that's what we're saying, so then at $300 a clip, put down speed bumps.
Right.
If our biggest fear in the world is somebody doing 90 miles an hour and hitting that and losing control, I mean, I'm just as scared if somebody just driving 90 miles an hour down the block.
They're
gonna
they
just-
put so.
Right.
You have to.
You are going to put signage up for the bumps as
Yeah,
well.
we have,
Yes.
So it's not going to be
We
like.
do have to consult with experts, guys. I
Right.
know no one wants to hear like government delays, blah, blah, blah.
Well, we have to
all
consult with
live in the
experts.
village. We all have kids. Mine are older now, but I live on Windsor and Mississippi. It's a highway. These guys all have young kids. It is what it is. We're all interested in this. We're not like avoiding using different resources. Town of Iceland's helpful, but calling one for it's not going to wave a magic wand to make the problem go away because they have their own problem. No, I don't disagree with you, but I'm just saying it's because the way it came, it's not a magic wand to fix this. We have to work together, guys. We need your input. I appreciate everyone coming tonight.
What would be the next
Yes,
steps?
I
When I walk out of this meeting, what's the takeaway? What's the next steps? I know we all have kids. They all play together. Nobody's.
I can honestly say in the last 3 days, we've all spoken about this topic. Like when Pat's walking down my street, I walked out and We'll be standing there and somebody will blow through the stop sign right in front
So
of us.
what is the next step?
It's-
What we're asking.
We're gonna have to get in touch with this, try and get in touch with the town of Iceland, and it's not Peter anymore, is it?
I don't remember the gentleman's name, he was very helpful.
Yeah, I was at that meeting when we were talking about the one place.
So this is gonna be a big point at our working meeting, guys. We're gonna have to.
Parking.
Because not even, above and beyond this, we wanna know what's gonna happen once this apartment building opens up.
And not just that, if they're putting courts down there or whatever they were saying, there's all new businesses that are going to be opening up, right? The rezoning that's happening. There are no
Well,
new
nothing's
businesses.
happening.
Nothing, yeah, we haven't
Right
been
now.
approached about any
But in the
business.
future, I heard pickleball, no,
Hasn't
Nothing's
materialized.
plans yet.
but could.
But like, not only that, like, if you're adding these 500 apartments over on Union at the old Toro, when they wanna go to Target, where are they gonna go?
Down either.
Well, that's why we're looking to be proactive here.
Right.
Exactly.
And, you know, get a plan.
That, like, I wish that we
Right,
would
so-
have been, had some say when the town of Islip decided to allow all these apartments.
This was brought up.
Did you not have, did you have say with the apartments that, like, how did that work out with the ones on Orinoco here?
With the traffic study?
No, the apartments, I'm sorry.
The ones, the Fairfield,
Yeah, the new ones that are going in.
Chase Bank.
Chase, and then I thought there's some further east that are going in, no?
No.
No, oh, okay, well, I'm glad I don't know that. So then how, you know, apartments are apartments, people are people, you know, more cars are more cars, so, you know, that just, I guess, materialized, and, like, a lot of people got caught off guard by that,
Yeah, I had
and, you
no
know,
idea.
But
like, all of a sudden they were just going up, and it seems like, I also
that
don't know
was a
anything.
2-year conversation before they did anything,
Fair.
just FYI. So,
Sorry, just one last thing. So since the meeting in January, has an expert been consulted with about the
Yeah.
traffic? Because that's what you're saying. is we-
yeah, I mean, so
We need to
I look at
consult
it this
with
way.
experts.
I look at it this way. We as a board say, hey, and again, we gotta, pull the mayor into this conversation. Hey, we wanna do, speed bumps.
Yeah.
Just to see what the ripple effect is at. Okay, so we purchased speed bumps. Okay, we gotta put signs in. Do we gotta pass a code, Charlie, about the speed bumps or
No.
anything with that? Okay.
No, just
So we avoid one other obstacle. We install those, and then we have to see what that effect is. Okay, does that now move people out? I mean, do we do it on Lombardi and Peters at the same time? I have no problem with doing that. The question is like, what happens to the other blocks? What happens to your neighbors on the other blocks? So that's.
What do we do?
I'd have no problem getting general consensus from everybody on my block.
Yeah, we'll
And
have
say,
it in
listen,
a
we're gonna
week.
put speed bumps on there, will you sign this and say it's okay?
Well, I'm not worried about
It's the
Peters.
other
Put them
blocks.
on Peters. I'm worried about Potters. I'm worried about Ashland.
But
I'm
listen,
happy to do it.
Potters doesn't connect to Sunrise.
Atherson.
Peters connects to Sunrise, Ackerson connects to
But
Sunrise.
I will
Lombardi
say,
connects to Sunrise, that's why there's a problem.
Hold on a second.
It's
We're
not
talking over each other.
rocket science, it's whatever connects to Sunrise, that's how they're getting down. And it's worse than ever, and you say on Woodland, I grew up on Woodland.
No,
You never saw a car on Woodland, so the fact that you have traffic problems on Woodland, that's indicative of problems spreading through. If you have a ban on Woodland, just imagine the blocks that connect to Sunrise. Because when I grew up there, if we saw a car that we didn't know, we'd all be like, who's that?
I grew up
Why
right
would you
here.
go down there?
I grew up biking on these,
Yeah.
Again, the next thing that we're gonna have to do is
we're gonna.
reach out for a
reach
traffic
out.
study. It has to be done, we're gonna have to discuss it at our working meeting when the mayor's back in town and take the next step. I know it doesn't seem like it's going fast enough for you guys, and I totally appreciate that, but
Don't misunderstand our cautiousness
Right.
as ignoring or avoiding. It's just, we want to make sure we make the right choice.
Right.
I think, and listen, I know we all care about our kids, but I think we need to know that there's a next step. Like somebody, we have to know.
we just said what the next step is.
We're
We have to
gonna
discuss
the
it.
second
town and
meeting.
see if they can help us. And if not, we're gonna have to get in touch with an outside company.
Study,
And
traffic study. That's all, traffic.
that's.
Correct.
That's the next concrete step. We'll talk to the mayor when he returns there, so, and then move forward with the traffic study. That's the next concrete step.
And just a quick FYI, I spoke with Nicole some months ago. You have a $25,000 traffic study grant available to the village. It's a matching grant. But we desperately need it, not only for the speed bumps and the stop sign, we need one for the entire village at this point. You've got stop signs east-west and nothing north-south, and it gets confusing, because you're expecting, as you're approaching the intersection, and you get there first, you're expecting the other person to stop. If they don't have a stop sign, they're gonna continue through. I'm surprised much incidents haven't occurred. I don't know how you do that. No, I don't even know if there's a rationale for that, me personally, I don't know. But you've got money on the table that's available, and it's been there for a while. 50 grand, you get a lot done, not enough, but enough.
Right,
A
it
lot.
costs a lot more than that, but you're right. Good.
Just, I'm on
Did you say
Atkinson
you're,
Boulevard.
just
Oh,
put your
I'm
name-
sorry,
yeah, sorry.
Frank's Atkinson Boulevard. I'm on Atkinson Boulevard, and we constantly keep people running through there because it's from sunrise down. You get the electrical company that's at the other end with the W's on it that goes up and down. It's the same thing there too. So I just want to throw
You gotta
that out
bring
there.
more neighbors.
I mean, honestly, you make it a one-way road, what happens is, yes, you push it down to the next road.
But if you were one way this way and we were one way that way, then logically, I would think 50% of traffic would be gone from our blocks.
But that's not going to slow them down.
It won't slow them down, but at least I know which way to look with my kids, you know?
All right, anybody else? Ann, go ahead.
Ann Sharant, 517 Potter Boulevard. When is the planning board going to have their next public meeting on the rezoning of Orinoco?
The planning board is no longer having public meetings on that. We had our public hearing with the Board of Trustees. We had two public hearings with the Board of Trustees. I think we have one more.
Yep.
And then the Board of Trustees will make a determination whether or not they want to adopt it into law. It's done with the planning board. Now it's at the Board of Trustee level.
I think maybe that's what these individuals were referring to,
Yes.
the apartments going up on Orinoco.
Okay.
Yeah.
Zoning. We've had
Will there be-
two public hearings. We're going to have one more.
Right.
Or it was scheduled for one more. We're doing an environmental review, the CEQA review, so we're in the process of that. Once that's all completed, then the Board of Trustees will make a determination whether or not
And a
they want to
traffic
adopt it.
study will be part of that determination as well?
I'm sorry?
A traffic study?
No. No.
It will not?
No. Environmental and the CEQA is a different analysis than the traffic study. Yeah.
So the proposal that the planning board has made to this board is for 33 apartments on Orinoco?
I don't remember.
No,
I don't have it
what
in front of me,
what
sorry.
she's referring to is, there's a zoning in there that was added to allow for additional apartments, and that was because the New York State governor mandated that you have to have a certain number of affordable housing in your community,
Right.
and that's where that 33 comes out to. So if we were forced to do that, we'd have the ability to have somebody do it. Now, that's not the village creating those apartments, it'd be somebody else. That's why that was added into that. It's either we have something in plan to do it, or it's forced upon us. So that's why that one part of that zoning is zoned that way.
That hasn't passed, right?
It has not, but it's back on the table again. And it looks like it may come to pass.
Anybody else? It's your last one.
Is my last one, I promise. So last week, major vote on the WeVote, what is it, WeVote?
We do, yeah.
Is it We?
We do.
We do votes.
We do votes, whatever. And it was 2-2, and Pat, you weren't present.
That was what
So where do you stand on that issue? Because is that going to come up for another vote to see if you can break the tie?
No, was there?
It was defeated.
It was defeated 2-2, tie.
Defeated.
But if Pat had cast a vote, it could have been approved. So I'm asking Pat where he stands on the issue.
Well, with the current budget that we had, it was a no. Because it's too much money right now to spend on it.
You can join us in the lakes this spring, Carmine. Prepare waiters, we're back in there.
I'm glad if you buy the equipment, I'll be there.
All right, anybody else? Nope. All right, I'd like to make a motion to close the meeting. In a second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you, everybody. See you next time.
Yeah.
Where am I